How's everybody doing? It's Savon, joined again with Reed and Tyler, Unlikely to Dispute, episode 3.
We have a fun episode today. Should be a little bit shorter than last week. We have a little game that Tyler prepared to test Savon and I's fluidity with the league, given how much time we spend on Sleeper. It's going to let us flex our lack of lives outside of this league. So we're going to play a little game to talk about that. And then we are going to have Tyler go over his power rankings after Savon and I did in episode 1. So we get to get his view. And then after that, I think we're going to wrap up and keep it short this week. So, Tyler, why don't you give us the little intro on your game here?
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, you guys are really tapped into the league, looking at Sleeper quite often. And so I was thinking, okay, how can I test these guys? How can I test my commissioners? So, today I've gathered a list of 12 names, variety of players, young, old, every position. And I want you guys to tell me two things. You get 1 point for each. First, you're going to tell me how they were acquired or if they were acquired. So that means, a waiver pickup, trade, inaugural draft, or the reclamation draft slash the cam draft. Or if none of those happen, if they're a current free agent. That's the first thing you'll tell me. And then the second thing is you'll tell me which team they're on, or if they're not on a team, which team were they last on. And I'll keep track, like I said, and I will assign 1 point to each of those categories, and we'll alternate back and forth. So, Savan, I'll just give you round one to answer first, and then Reed will follow suit, and then we'll flip, and we'll see where we're at after 12 rounds here. Does that sound good? Any questions?
Not perfect sounds good. Like that I get to go first as I am the only person to ever win the league. So makes it just feels right.
I
Yeah.
feel pretty confident that winning this crown will overshadow your championship. So,
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You tell that to Pickles.
I'm here. I think this could range anywhere from like each of you getting like 2, 3 points to, maybe even we'll see a 20-point performance from
it,
one or both of you.
if we only get 2 or 3 points, the league might revolt against us. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
All
Now
right.
we'll see.
Okay. You guys ready?
Hmm.
Ready.
Let's hear it.
Okay. First name, I'm gonna take you down south to Tampa. Savon, I'll let you start. Can you tell me how Sean Tucker was acquired?
Sean Tucker. Ooh, that is deep. Wow. Um, okay, I didn't know we were starting like this.
Oh yeah.
First, my first impulse was the inaugural draft.
Okay.
Um, I don't know the round.
That's okay. Just need the team.
Um, I'm going to say the first name that came to mind was Schrader.
Okay. Those are your final answers?
I'm gonna say yeah, inaugural draft in Schrader,
Okay.
and I'm
Reed?
not too confident.
See. Reed, any
I,
disagreement there?
yes, actually, I think he was a waiver pickup because at the time, Rashad White was a pretty high draft pick in the league. He was in the sixth round, I believe. And then Bucky was up 14th round pick. So he might have gone late, but I'm going to say waivers. And
Okay.
my first thought on the team, I didn't have Schrader in mind when he said that. I want to say Trent, but I'm not sure. So I'll say Trent and waivers.
Hey, starting off cold from the fellas, but that's okay. That might be the toughest one yet. Sean Tucker was a pick in the reclamation draft.
Wow.
He was picked by Cam Thorne, currently rostered. So I don't know if he was originally on James or Sham's team, but uh, he has a new home now. So we'll see what he can do
Wow.
this year.
Okay, wow, I did not know we were starting like that.
Like
I spent a lot of time looking at Cam's team, but I guess I was too blinded by Rasheed Rice to look at Sean Tucker down there.
yeah. Well, good news is it's still an even ball game for you both, so
Here we go.
no sweat. Reed, we'll start with you. You ready for this one?
Hmm.
All right. Wide receiver, new home, moving up north to Minnesota. Tell me about Rondale Moore.
Okay. I remember that. I believe that he is on Ian's team and he was an inaugural draft pick.
Okay. Savon.
Um, I can't remember if we had the draft after he tore his ACL, because he was on the Falcons, obviously. I can't remember when he tore his ACL, so I feel like he wouldn't have got drafted if he tore his ACL before we drafted. So I'm gonna say he was a recent waiver pickup, also on Ian's team.
Okay. Well, good news is you both nailed the team. He is on Ian's team. However, he was drafted in the 23rd round of the
Oh,
inaugural draft, so that's one more point to Reed, leaving Reed with a 2-1 lead, but understandable how Savon, you would think he is a waiver pickup.
I only
yeah,
remember that because I remember him being on Ian's IR all year, and I made a trade
Oh,
with him with the Juwan Jennings Ricky Pearsall trade, and I remembered seeing him, and I still can't believe he's only like 24 still, but I remember seeing him because he was on his IR all year, and I was like, why is he there? But I believe yeah, he was drafted and then he tore his ACL, so we'll
gotcha.
see.
Yeah, good stuff.
well, next we'll move to perhaps the unsexiest of names here. We'll go to another running back in Miles Sanders. Savon, any
Mi-
ideas on Miles Sanders?
Miles freaking Sanders. First name that comes to mind. Okay, I'm gonna say. Oh, is this? Oh, sorry. Is this the most recent? Sorry, clarification.
Yes, go ahead.
If they got drafted, then dropped, then waivers, which
hmm
one? Which one
You,
would I
so
say?
I need the way they were most recently
Okay,
acquired.
okay, okay.
But I will say I did note that it's possible there are current free agents on this list.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying one thing or the other. I'm
Yep,
just
yep.
saying.
Um, for some reason, my gut, and I'm just gonna go with my gut, is inaugural draft, Sandy.
Okay, Reed.
I remember Miles Sanders because Deshaun spent a whole fat wad of fob on him, and
Oh
everyone was
my
making fun of
goodness.
him. And
Yes.
it was like $37. It was like almost half of his yearly budget, and we're like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" And then he dropped him like 2 weeks later, and I was laughing. But I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea whose team he's on right now. So I am actually gonna go with a free agent because I think somebody picked him up after Deshaun and
Mhm.
dropped him. So I think he's a free agent right now. And I'll just take a shot in the dark on the last team he was on. I'm just gonna say Deshaun because I know he had him, but I think somebody else picked him up more recently.
Hey, you both get 0 points there. However, Reed, you were on the right track. Miles Sanders was dropped. He was picked back up, and he remains on Schrader's team
Ha,
as of me prepping this game the other day. So,
interesting.
Miles Sanders still is a home for now. We'll see if that lasts much longer.
Dude,
Caleb Johnson to the Cowboys.
I completely forgot that whole Deshaun situation with Miles Sanders.
That was
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, I'm
Um,
doing terrible.
no, I mean you're still down. You're down one, Vaughn. You
Oh
can
yeah,
pick that
yeah,
up
facts.
this round. So,
For those of you who don't know, before we were prepping the podcast, I said I might get a perfect score, so I'm getting put in my
Yeah.
place here.
yeah. Well, we're in round four now, so about a third done or a fourth done now. We'll go to the first tight end, and his name is Noah Gray.
I know this one.
Reed,
I know this one.
Kansas City fan. Can you tell me about Noah Gray?
Yeah, he was a waiver pickup for your team.
Okay, pretty confident there, Savon.
Oh wow. I was on the same track of waiver pickup. I I was thinking Trent first. So I'm going waiver pickup Trent.
Okay, it's 2 points for Reed there, 1 point for you, Savon.
No.
He was a waiver pickup. He was picked up by me, myself. And I actually was looking back, I'm kind of surprised he wasn't drafted. I mean, I know he's bench guy, depth guy, tight end handcuff, if you will, but I'm kind of excited about him, not gonna lie.
Well, with him, Savant drafted Jared Wiley, who was their fourth round rookie tight end, and then he tore his
Yeah.
ACL early in the year. So he was the second Chiefs tight end that got drafted, Noah Gray, was just kind of a filler. But now that Kelsey doesn't really care about the regular season anymore, Gray ended up getting a lot of run towards the end of the year last year. I think, did you start him? I think you all either started him
I
or almost started him a week.
I believe that's correct. I can't remember, but I wanted to.
There we go.
So, all right. Well, Reed jumps out to a 4-2 lead here. Savon, no sweat here. I mean, you're good. Best rounds yet to come, hopefully.
Got
Um,
to.
I'm gonna have you guys go back up to Minnesota and tell me about Jalen Naylor and his story. Savon.
Okay. Um, he was I don't know about most recent, but I know oh so I know he was on James's team because there was I have a story. I told him not to start Jalen Naylor in the week
I
that
remember this.
yeah, he had him starting in his super flex and he went off on his bench.
Oh no.
So Jalen Naylor got drafted by James. With that being said, most recent, I would have to say the reclamation draft, and I'm just gonna say Camden, and you can tell me which.
Nah,
Okay.
I'm
No
afraid
half points for
Um,
that.
so I really don't know which Camden.
head
So
coin
I,
flip then.
yeah, I'm just gonna go with Cam Thorne because he's a Vikings fan. So reclamation, Cam Thorne.
Fair.
I also agree it was a reclamation, but I think it's Cam K.
Wow.
I just went because I know he's a Vikings
Yes,
fan.
yeah,
So
that's a fair bet.
Well, one of you's correct, and Savon, I'm afraid it's Reed again this time. He
yeah,
was
that's
a reclamation draft. Even though Cam Thorne's a Vikings fan, looks like Jalen Naylor went to Cam K in this one.
Well,
But
believe
that's
it or not, I've spent a lot of time looking at his roster because if you didn't know, Josh Downs will be on my team by next year. So I spent a lot of team time looking at his roster.
fair enough.
that's fair.
Josh
So
Downs will probably come up in every episode until he's on my team.
true. All
Rather
right.
him than the other Colt.
Well, at the halfway point, Savon's at 3, Reed's at 6. I'm gonna take you guys to another wide receiver by the name of Calvin Austin. Ever heard
Ooh.
of him? Reed, I'll let you start.
I know he was a waiver pickup. Savant told me he was really excited to pick him up when free agency started after the NFL season ended, and I was like, I couldn't care less about picking him up. I don't know who picked him up though, so I'm just like a 1 in 12 shot or a 1 in 10 because I know it's not Savant or I's roster. We'll go waiver pickup. We'll go Sandy.
Okay.
Waiver pickup, Ian.
Okay. Calvin Austin is actually currently on the wire. Go get him if you'd like.
God.
However, he was last rostered by Ian, so I'm going to give Savannah a point for that.
Let's go. 3
So,
points.
congrats on your first point without Reed scoring,
Wait,
Savon.
so how come I'm getting a point for that?
Because I have like the second way of scoring as current team or previous team.
Okay.
But since Calvin Austin's currently a free agent, he's obviously not on Ian's team. However, he
Yeah.
was last rostered by Ian. So
Yeah, I remember him picking him up. I just don't remember if he got dropped or not. So
It seems like he should be on your team because you were excited to pick him up.
yeah, but then I had DK and George Pickens.
Yeah, that potent Steelers offense with no quarterback.
Yeah, but yeah, even worse, exactly. So did I get 2 points or one that round?
you got one because
Okay.
he was not a waiver. He was a waiver pickup. He's been a waiver pickup multiple times, but
Yeah.
he is currently without a home.
He was
Okay.
on James's team at one point, I believe.
Yeah. He's
Hey.
kind of like a journeyman wide receiver, I feel like. And in our league at least, not
Yeah,
real
yeah.
life. Okay. Next, we'll go to Indianapolis. I feel like we never talk about the Colts. Just kidding. We always talk about the Colts. Savon, Alec Pierce. How was he acquired, or is he a free agent? And whose team is he on?
But this one's easy.
Yeah.
Currently
Currently, someone's
on
cheating, I think.
no,
I was
no,
gonna say, do you have
I
sleeper
swear.
up?
No, I swear. Currently on Sumner's team, acquired via trade. Um, the trade. Let's see if I can get
Wait,
specific.
wait, wait, wait. Let's read answer.
Yeah,
And
he acquired him from Deshaun for a 2026 second.
okay,
If I remember the return correctly, I thought it was an overpay at the time, but he was the Colts' leading receiver last year,
okay.
over 800 yards. If anyone was wondering.
Well, you guys are both. That might have been the easiest. You both get two there. Alec Pierce was a trade acquisition between Andrew and Deshaun. I have the trade right in front of me. It's actually Alec Pierce and a 2026 third rounder for a 2025 second rounder.
Hmm.
There we go.
That doesn't feel it feels pretty good on each side, I
Yeah,
would
no,
say.
it's not. I remembered it being just for a second, and that would have been a much. But with the third, it's probably pretty good.
All right. Um,
What's the score?
it is currently Savon. You have six. Reed has eight. So
Okay.
still plenty of time here for a comeback.
And how many rounds are left?
There are 5 rounds left.
Okay. We might have
So
to go into overtime.
hey, that's not a problem. But this round is pretty unspectacular. This is probably the player that has had the least impact, maybe up to debate. Oh man, this is gross. Tell, read Ryan Flanoy, wide receiver, wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. We are in the weeds.
I have
I
no
know.
That's
I know
idea.
what's
this
fun.
one. I know this one.
Okay. Okay. Well, if Savon knows it that closely, I'm guessing it's either Savon or Trent, or sorry, Deshaun or Trent. And I'm almost positive he was probably a waiver pickup at that point, because Jalen Tolbert would have gone ahead of him in the inaugural draft as a receiver. So would CeeDee Lamb, obviously. So I don't think, and Brandon Cook. So I don't think he would have gotten an inaugural draft. So I'm going to say waiver pickup, and I'm going to go with Trent.
Okay, Savon.
Inaugural draft. Trent taxi squad all year, still in his taxi squad.
Nicely done, Savon. That is your best round. You
Yes.
nailed it. Uh, he was not a waiver pickup rookie last year, so eligible to be on that taxi squad. But understandable to think he is a waiver pickup.
Savon, if you
Yeah,
wouldn't have said anything to start, I would not have.
I was just gonna
It was just
say,
going to be a dart throw for me at that point.
that's fair.
but hey, I mean, confidence is there. So
Down one.
okay, perhaps the youngest player on this list. I'm not quite sure. To perhaps the oldest player on this list. Odell Beckham
Oh,
Jr.
I just saw him on
Savon.
someone's roster.
Ooh, this one's tough.
Perhaps a little help from Reed there. Reed's claiming he's not a free agent, but
Oh, thank you, Mr. Reed. I dead ass was gonna say free agent, even if you didn't. Uh, or if Tyler, if you didn't just say that.
oh well,
Um,
I was just narrating what Reed said.
so if I'm being honest, I have no clue what NFL team Odell's on. Last I knew, he was on the Dolphins. Um, don't know if he's still on the Dolphins. Uh, this is really bad. Who would have Odell? Probably sounds. This is bad. I'm gonna go waiver pickup just to hopefully get a point, and I'm just gonna say, let's just. I'm just gonna say Ian. Waiver pickup Ian.
Okay, I'm pretty confident he's on Sandy's roster because he has him and Deontay Johnson sitting back to back on his bench. Hopefully, Deontay Johnson's not on the list here. I'm almost positive that it's Sandy, but I don't know why he would have picked him up during the year. I feel like that had to be someone that he drafted and then just left on his bench all year. But I don't feel confident enough. The odds I would say would be that he was a waiver pickup. He probably got rumored to sign with somebody during the year and he picked him up.
You
Why
real quick. You should go inaugural draft so you can get more points.
don't you leave the math to me there, buddy? Uh, because like I said, I know I'm getting a point over him for the team. If I say the same one, I guarantee a 2 point lead. Um, Also, you know what? I will. I'll say inaugural draft. I think he left him on his bench all year, hoping he signed.
And whose team are you saying he's
Sandy's
on?
team.
Okay. 1 point to each of you. Savon, you are correct. He was a waiver pickup,
God,
Yes.
and
Savon, what the hell, man?
he is on Sandy's team. So perhaps
How do you let me talk you into
a
that?
No,
good defensive.
you didn't talk me into that.
Yes, I
I don't
did.
know why he would have picked him up unless he drafted him in the first place. Like, why would he have picked him up at any point? That didn't make
Wait,
any sense. So I figured he just drafted him and left him there all year.
Tyler, do you know whose team he started on?
I don't. Oh, I could look it up. You want me to look it up
Real quick. I'm not
real
getting on
quick?
sleeper.
Okay, okay. I'm looking it up right now.
Filler time.
No,
Anthony
you're good.
Richardson's terrible.
Okay. Here, no, I got it. Okay, on August 24th, OBJ was added from waivers by Ian for $0
See
on
that? Okay, so
uh,
I should get a point.
that. But on October 14th, he was dropped, and then October 17th, he was added for $0 to Sandy, and that's where he's
October
remained ever since.
24th. Our draft barely had ended at that point. That's basically the inaugural draft. I think I should
August
get a point.
24th.
Yeah, the
That
draft would have just ended at that point.
well, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
No,
Fine, fine. Just screw me. I'll win anyway.
because he was added on waivers in October, which is far from the inaugural draft.
Okay,
Um,
fine.
okay.
How many
So
rounds left? 3?
3 rounds left.
Down two.
Score check. Reed is at 10. Savon, you are at 9.
Oh.
Really close here. 3 rounds left. We'll go to a running back. Take us to Tennessee, Tony Pollard. Savon. Or I'm sorry, Reed.
Yeah, it's Reed.
He's on Rob's team. He was a trade. He acquired him from James.
Savon.
No arguments.
Okay.
Too easy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've included 2 trade acquisitions so far, and you each have nailed those. So, I mean, you guys processing those trades, safe to say you're doing your work there.
I process most of them because Savon isn't on Sleeper very much, so I usually end up doing them. Savon processes his own trades, which he's not supposed to be doing as commissioner.
Okay, well, it took Reed 2 days to process it. So
Well, we haven't mentioned a QB yet, and when we're talking about QBs, we would be stupid not to mention Lamar Jackson. No, I'm just kidding. Lamar Jackson's on Ian's team, and I think all 3 of us knew that.
yes,
We'll see.
We are sticking with QB though. Uh, maybe a little bit worse than Lamar. Trey Lance, Savon.
Trey Lance. Oh my. Ugh. Okay, so I know he got drafted. Do I remember if he got dropped? He should have. And then he definitely got picked up again at the end of the year when there was some uncertainty if Cooper Rush was going to play. And then he probably got dropped again. And now forget what team he's on in real life.
Chargers.
Chargers. Okay, so he probably shouldn't be on a team. So I'm going to say he's currently a free agent.
Okay, and which team was he on last?
Which team was he on last? I know he's Reed's guy, but you already told us it's none of our teams. But maybe you were just trying to do that. But Reed
No.
definitely didn't have him. So I'm gonna say he was on Sumner's team last, unconfidently.
Okay. Reed?
Okay, I'm torn here because the team changes. I had him at the end of the year. He should have been playing over Cooper Rush. No, I don't know why he wasn't. But obviously I dropped him. I thought, and I'm almost confident that Rob drafted him in the inaugural draft. He dropped him. I picked him up. Maybe it's just because he signed with the Chargers, but I thought that Rob picked him up. So my team changes. If I think he's a free agent, then I would say myself. But if I think he got picked up, then obviously I wouldn't say myself because I know he's not on my team. Um,
Tough spot here.
You should just say Rob.
Well, wait. What did Savan say? He said free agent who? Sumner?
Sumner, but obviously that's wrong.
I
Well
don't know
said,
why.
obvious.
I don't know why someone would have picked him up. So I'm gonna say free agent, and I'm gonna say me.
Reed, you chose the wrong path in the fork in the road. Trey Lance was picked up, and he was picked up by our good friend Rob.
God.
So that is
It's okay.
that's 0 points for each of you
I
there.
mean, if Rob wants to pick up their third string quarterback, that's fine with me. I'll take the L on that one.
Who's second string?
Taylor
Easton
Heineke
Stick?
is there too.
Oh, Easton Stick.
Yeah. I thought Easton Stick was on the Colts, or is that's Sam
Yeah,
Ellinger?
he just signed with the Broncos actually. Colts fans are pretty sad about it because he mentored Richardson. So too
Did a
bad.
great job.
And now they're going to draft Quinn Ewers with their fifth round pick. So
Well,
Hopefully,
seems
with the
smart.
with the scores remaining the same, Savan, you're still down one. It is our last round.
double
We can,
bonus points.
no bonus points. We can go into OT if necessary,
Now,
but
if I was an asshole, I would just guess the exact same thing as Savan, so he couldn't pass me. But I'm not going to for the love of the game.
wow,
And
that's
you're also going
noble.
first.
That also
This
makes
is
sense.
true. This is true.
Tyler knew I'd be leading at the end because, of course,
This
I am. So he made sure I went first on the last round.
Okay, let's
you
just
fell
let's
right
get on.
in. You followed my plan exactly. Uh, Another big name here, washed for sure. Ezekiel Elliott. Reed.
Oh God,
I got this. I know this one.
that's not good. Okay, well, I'm almost positive he's on Sumner's team because I remember him drafting him, and it was right after he drafted like two straight old guys, and we're like, this guy's team is washed. So I'm pretty positive he's on Sumner's team. And then with that, I would think I would go with inaugural draft. So I'm gonna go inaugural draft Sumner.
Okay. Savan.
Well, that's wrong.
Let's hear it.
With 2 points, finishing this out, coming in from behind.
That's what she said.
Okay. He was drafted by Sumner's team in the inaugural draft. And then he was released. And you know who picked him up off waivers, Reed?
You.
Absolutely not. I have no idea. But I do know he was picked up on waivers.
That still doesn't
And
get you ahead of me, so you have to know the team.
no, I was lying. I was bluffing the whole time. But I do know that Sumner cut him. I do know that for a fact. And so I'm between being on waivers still, which would make sense, or getting picked up. So I'm just gonna say he was a waiver claim and random team. I'm gonna say Sandy.
You know, if this was our Linmar league, then it would be Aaron Nybar because that would be a guarantee.
Yes.
Okay, well, Savan, it breaks my heart. You were so close. Ezekiel Elliott was drafted in the inaugural draft by Andrew Sumner. In round 14, he was cut, and that's where he remained on waivers.
Oh
No
my!
one picked him up. I was waiting for you, Savan, to just say he was cut and no one picked him up, but you didn't. In fact, he got picked up by, I don't even remember who you said.
He said Sandy.
Sandy. So he was not picked up. He is not on Sandy's team. That's 0 points for Savan. Reed, you said he was drafted to Andrew's team. Isn't that what you said? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I said Sumner
Okay.
inaugural draft.
So he was cut, but he is on Sumner's team, so that's an additional point there.
Well, sorry. So he was drafted there, but he's currently a free agent.
Correct.
Okay, so I get the point for Sumner.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Which leaves us at a final score of Reed with 11 and Savan with 9.
That's
So it
I
looks
have
like we're
I have
going
13 to
with-
11, Tyler.
What's that?
I have the scores 13 to 11.
Did I miscalculate here?
I'm
Either
pretty
way, I'm
sure.
down two.
Okay,
However
okay.
we draw it up.
I beat
2,
Savan's
4,
ass. We get
6,
it.
8. Yes, I'm sorry. I missed a 2 on each side.
There we go.
So
So
King me,
Now,
Savan. Say
now
it. King me.
we go into the 13th round. Points are doubled, and you're coming up with one on the spot, Tyler, because I'm not taking that.
You're not taking that?
Not taking that.
After all the injury luck you had this year, I
Points are
think you can
doubled.
take an L here.
Do you
Points are
guys?
doubled.
I was gonna say we could double or nothing right here.
It sounds like we should just open next episode with a best of
That's
three.
that's perfect. Real quick, I want to get your guys' thoughts. I think the trades were the easiest for you guys, but what
Hmm.
name was the toughest for each of you? I mean, each of you,
Oh,
I can say, I'll tell you which of you got. You guys each scored 0 on Sean Tucker, Miles Sanders, uh, Calvin Austin, you scored 0, Reed, and Trey Lance, you each scored 0. Which one?
When you started with Sean Tucker, I'm like, this is this is bad. I had
yeah.
zero clue after with Sean whose team he was on.
It was Sean Tucker for me too. You would think Ryan Flournoy would be the hardest overall, but for
Yeah,
some reason, it just stuck in my brain that he was
Hmm.
on Trent's taxi squad.
that's
I mean,
fair.
I think that's for most of them. Like, I obviously had a personal connection to Lance because I had him. I remember the Miles Sanders free agency saga. Like like I usually have like one little connection that I remember some piece. I literally had no recollection of anyone owning Sean Tucker, even though I knew
Yeah.
that they did at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was a lot more difficult than I thought, but
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
was a good brain
big
exercise.
big props to the co-host on that one. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I was I think that bet went as well as I had hoped because I was hoping like you guys didn't totally bomb, but I was hoping you guys didn't kill it either. So
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
kind of in the middle there, and it had some fun talk in there. So I
Mhm.
enjoyed it.
Big fan. Okay.
So
So game's over. Savant took an L. We're moving on to the last segment here. Power rankings. Tyler, to fill
yes,
in episode one, start with 12, go to one. Just give us a few sentences. Next episode, we'll open with our aggregated power ranking. So your number 12 power ranking team. Let's hear it.
yeah, I struggle with power ranking sometimes. So just a little disclosure there. I feel like I'm pretty wishy-washy. So these can change day to day, but
And sorry,
and
just to confirm, you did these for 2025 season only, correct?
correct.
Okay.
And I did these without remembering your guys' rankings, so if I'm totally off base, feel free to let me know. But starting at 12, I had Schrader. That QB situation is really scary with just Brock Purdy and I guess Derek Carr, but not really because he's
We'll
probably
see on
out
that
this
one.
year. Um, Running backs look solid with Jacobs and Henry, but I don't know, QBs and an okay wide receiver group there.
Where does his ranking change prior to the Amon-Ra St. Brown trade? Like if you just had to guess from 12, how much higher would he have been if you still had Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Maybe 10.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you guys remember where you had Schrader?
We both
I
had him
think,
at like 6 and 7, I think.
yeah, I can look real quick.
I'm almost
Uh,
positive I had him at 7 and you at 6 because when he had Amon-Ra St. Brown, you had in Henry and Jacobs.
yeah.
Yes, quarterback two sucks, but like, and his wide receiver room was pretty stable. This isn't our power rankings, but we both
Yeah.
had him as a pretty big disagreement with you, I think,
Yeah, and that's fair. I
prior to
think
trading St.
and there's
Brown.
probably some bias there. I've never been a Judy fan, never been a Najee
Mhm.
fan. So, even if those guys have produced.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
um,
Schrader
cool.
at number 12, number
Yeah.
11.
Next, I have former Ezekiel Elliott owner Andrew Sumner. Kamara and McCaffrey's and Tyreek's situation honestly are pretty variable going forward. Like any year could be the last year for those three. I think you guys kind of mentioned the age of the roster there.
Yeah,
But Baker looks really good, and I am still a T-Law believer. Sorry, Savon.
that's
Good.
fine.
And Cam Ward told me Calvin Ridley is one of the best receivers in the draft, so
With
or
Traylon Burks.
in the league, correct? So,
Okay.
um,
Perfect. And
I probably could have Andrew a bit higher, but that's where I was at for now.
okay. Well, remember, it's also April, so lots of time to adjust these here before the season
Definitely.
starts. Number 10.
I have Ryan Flournoy, owner Trent, at number 10. Again, I mean Bowers is a stud. I could probably have Trent a bit higher, but outside of that starting lineup, there's some really concerning lack of depth for me. And um, He has 2 first-round picks this year, so I guess I could help that a bit. I'm not a Jordan Love believer. And Mike Evans, how much longer is he going to do it?
I bet he puts up 1,000 yards this year.
Hey, that's pretty bold of you.
Savon, do you know how many picks Trent has?
8.
And do you have any advice on what he should do with those picks?
I called him yesterday when he was giving me a house tour, and afterwards we talked about it. He said he's busy staining his cabinet. So if you hear this, Trent, quit staining your fucking cabinets, trade your picks.
Interesting. So you're running Deshaun's trades per the last episode. You're running your own trades, and now you're also running Trent's trades.
I'm not running them, I'm advising.
Well, Deshaun made it clear you weren't running his trades afterwards, but you made it very clear you were running his
I
trades.
I he actually brought this up at work yesterday, and I made it clear with him without me, he would not have Genty at least, and that was my whole saying from that episode was he has Genty because of me, because James was trying to trade him a different first, not his first. So
Well,
that is a fact.
per his messages, I've heard the 1-1 could be available for the right price. That message
Which,
you sent made it clear it might be available.
which it should be available.
Hey, that's not my job. You're running his trades. Go tell him to trade it, and then we'll get moving again.
He's not. He said he wouldn't trade it for Gibbs straight up, so he's not actually trying to move it.
Well, Gibbs is a committee back, so whatever.
Yeah,
Tyler,
yeah.
number 9.
Number 9, that's going to be Sandy. Honestly, I love some pieces and really hate some of the other pieces. I think Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts are a really high floor QB room, and that can win matchups. It can help win matchups, I guess. But other pieces are a bit flawed for me. Kelsey, obviously, kind of on his last run here. So, could be a good year for Sandy, but I guess I'm a little bit confused on the team here and just I don't know exactly what to make of it quite yet, but some a first round pick and 2 second-round picks this year, so we'll see there.
Good. Okay.
Um,
Number 8.
The first reclamation team can have Cam Thorne here, a bit lower than his counterpart in Cam K.
Spoiler alert.
I mean, spoiler. Yep. You guys mentioned it earlier that when you guys did your rankings, the QB situation, just a little bit weak there with Darnold and Tagovailoa. And Puka will need to do a lot for him, like you guys said. But I think there's some definitely good pieces here. I do like Leggett, and that big trade with Amon-Ra going to his team should really, really help as well. So that's exciting.
Savon, do you have any thoughts on his team?
On Cam Thorne?
Yeah.
I mean, I talk shit for fun. His team's fine. I think he has Bryce Young too. I don't think you mentioned that. Right? He has Bryce?
He did.
Yeah.
Gave away Nico Collins and the 5th pick to get him.
Yeah, it is what it is. But with you, Tyler, I strongly disagree. I think Leggett is dog shit.
That works.
No, I like Leggett.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I thought you said I'm with you.
No, I think I meant to say I'm against you there.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
no, I think he's dog shit. Like bad.
I hope
I
they
think
take Cat McMillan at 8. That'd be really fun.
I think he can. I think he has yak ability, but I think the way he has, like, the way he runs routes, and I don't know if he's like stupid or if it's just his accent, but he doesn't. But it just seems like he's just not as knowledgeable. I mean, he was a rookie. I just don't think he's a good route runner. I don't love the situation still. I think if he were to break out or whatever, it would have to be as the 2. And I also would take Jalen Coker over him. So hopefully they get a real wide receiver 1 this offseason, and then maybe he can just be a slot receiver and maybe do something. I don't know. I'm not a league guy.
Savon, can you, for the audience, can you please open next episode with your best Xavier Legette accent in the opener?
I got you.
That would be amazing for the
I
content.
got you.
I'm
I
gonna
think,
put. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that could be the thing that really shoots us into stardom here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm gonna put the Cams back to back here. I know you guys had Cam K a bit higher in your rankings.
This is number 7 for you, correct?
Correct. Number 7. Daniels and Stroud. I mean, probably the youngest way or not quarterback room, I believe, among the league. I worry about the floor of Waddle and Williams. I mean, those are two guys who, that's Jameson Williams. Those guys could each score, 4 in a week, or they could score 24. So interested to see what they do this year. This is kind of getting into the tier where the next few could be interchangeable. But at the 6th spot, I had Rob. I actually think Rob's team has perhaps the most upside. Like if everything were to go right with Rob's team, I think his team could be a serious juggernaut. You have Mr. If with Justin Herbert. I really like Herbert. I know there's a hole in that QB2 spot right now. I think that could get filled one way or another. I know Rob's messaged me about quarterbacks, so we'll see if he gets that filled before the league. But
Do you have
I
a
think
scoop to share on the pod?
no scoop.
Okay, no scoops.
No scoop. I keep my rumors tight to the chest.
Except for that trade you didn't go through with last year with Savan.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say Rob he's been trying to make acquisitions. He's messaged me about McConkey. He's
Yep.
messaged Deshaun about Lamb. He was in on JJ McCarthy. So
The
Rob's
wheels are
wheeling.
moving for him.
Yeah.
He's
And he
wheeling.
was
He just hasn't been dealing yet.
he's part of the 5-way trade with us too.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, well, you guys each had me at number 6, and understandable. I have all the Cardinals players.
Wait, didn't you have Rob at number 6? Isn't this
I
number
did.
5? Okay.
I did. But I am going to put myself in the top half of these rankings. I
6
feel
is the
like,
top half of the rankings.
okay, definitively in the top half.
When there's 12 teams, 6.5 is the middle number. 6 is the top half.
Yeah, but like 6
God, a
is
couple
half
of dudes
12.
who don't know math on here.
No, you know what I mean. Like six is the bookend.
6 is top half.
6
It is. Okay. But I'm putting
factually top half when there's 12.
well into the top half.
Okay, there you go.
I know earlier you guys had mentioned my lineup. Fields, I feel great about not trading him to Savan. Thank goodness. I thought about it. I do like my starting lineup. I think you guys are sleeping on my depth a bit. I think Rashad Bateman can start. I think Jalen Tolbert could. Well, I'm not going to go that
Yeah, I
far.
wouldn't say that. We're going to get made fun of.
I have a 107 this year. I think I could go any which way I really want with that. We'll see how the draft falls, but I think I'm deserving of that 5 spot. I think I have the best tight end room in the league, and with it being tight end premium, I think that is an advantage that I have.
If I could make a bold prediction for your pick 107, is that okay?
By all means.
I think you will take whoever the Cardinals' first round pick is.
Damn you.
It will not be an IDP league.
Well, if they take an offensive player, I know where my money is. Which
Yeah.
tune in the week before our draft starts because we will be doing Savan and I, without a first round pick, will be doing our fine dining first round mock draft. So you can come to see where we think your players or who you're going to take. It's going to be a banger. So tune in a couple of weeks.
Deshaun's team, I have at number 4, the GNT Connoisseurs. After missing the playoffs last year, I think Deshaun has a really good shot at making the playoffs this year and being a force to be reckoned with. He has Caleb Williams, of course, Bo Nix. So 2 quarterbacks looking to have a great sophomore season. So as the 101, 202, and 205, I think there's some star power on this team in Achan and CeeDee Lamb. So I think Deshaun's team will be scary this year. Could definitely vault into that top 3, top 2 power rankings at any point
Does
this
this
year.
mean you're out on Saquon after no mention of his star power?
Oh no, I mean, of course I'm in on Saquon.
Okay,
I'm
just
sorry.
wanted to make sure.
That was That was insulting. I'll own that.
Okay, top three.
Number
Let's see what order you have.
Okay. Well, I guess I haven't mentioned either of you two yet. I do have one of you in this three spot. And that's going to be you, Reed. I'm not the biggest Anthony Richardson believer. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not at Savant's level, but I am nowhere near your level of maybe belief. Uh, Best wide receiver room in the league by far. Really impressive and really scary to go up against. I traded Kenneth Walker to the year this year. I think he is boomer bust. I think either the Seahawks draft a running back in the next in the draft coming up here. I think he's maybe a cut candidate. I don't know if that's bold.
I think you want him to get hurt, so Zach Charbonnet
Oh,
is in charge again.
well,
Let him shit on your team, Reed. Just let him.
but
Look, he can shit on my team all he wants,
no,
and
I'm
of course,
not.
Anthony Richardson's gonna be the first person he mentions. But again, I have Dak Prescott on the
No,
bench, so if Anthony
Just let him
Richardson
shit.
can't
this is
shit, then
Go
so
on,
what?
Tyler. Go on.
no. I think this is a really strong team, and I, I mean, another. This is has championship caliber written all over it. The best stack in the league as well, and Jamar and Joe Burrow. That's a fun duo to watch on Sundays. So in that three spot, honestly, this is a cop out, but I think all three top three teams are somewhat interchangeable. With
Number
that
two,
being said, Savan, I'm giving you the number two spot. I'm sorry. It is the right place for the repeat champs. If anything, it's a little chip on your shoulder. I do believe you overpaid a bit for Adunze in that five-team trade, but understandable if you want to get your guy. Um, I think you are the highest in the league on Drake May, but understandable as you are a Drake May owner. But Gibbs, Neighbors, those guys, their upside is off the chart. Um, and I think I really like your team as a whole. I think it's complete. I don't think there are a lot of holes. Um, I mean, you've eliminated me multiple times in playoffs, so I'm not going to say your team isn't. I'm not going to say anything that's going to come back to haunt me.
Hey, no
Ah,
qualms. No qualms with me.
all right,
so
cool.
for a guy with no holes that doesn't have an RB2 or a tight end, I'm starting to think there are some holes. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I could
Hmm.
start the same guy that I started against you in the championship last year and be fine.
Who is that?
Whoever I want it to be.
Oh, that doesn't answer the question.
I think it was Swift.
Was it?
Well,
It was either Swift or Brian Robinson, but
You
they're
can't start
about
Brian Robinson.
correct. So they're about the same. So it doesn't matter. We play in week 1, we play in week 17. It doesn't matter.
Interesting for someone who scored
uh,
less points than me. That's all.
Interesting
number
for someone who has less rings than me.
That's true. I can't fight that one.
number one, I'm going to have Ian. Read you had Ian number one as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, Ian is Josh Allen Lamar. I mean, that's about all you need to know about Ian's team. Not in a disrespectful way. It's just those two are just so much of a wrecking force that uh, it really, really makes his team a gauntlet. I really like Cooper Kupp as a bounce back candidate this year. And Ian holds two first round picks that I think could potentially help with running back or wide receiver depth. Brian Thomas and Nico Collins on his squad as well. So Ian's team is my odds-on favorite to win
If
the
you had
championship.
to, if you had to hypothesize why Ian dropped 190 points in back-to-back weeks, and then he plays Savon in the playoffs and drops 120, how would you reconcile why that happened to him?
You know the answer, Tyler.
Why
You know
this
what I bring.
happens to Savon?
Yeah, why
Or
this happens to Savon and why Ian's team decided to do that when he finally played Savon.
Hey, real quick, you know what I've been preaching for the last decade, Tyler.
are you looking for me to just say it was lucky?
I just want some confirmation that Ian's
Like
team is the best in the league and Savon got lucky. That's all I want you to say.
that was a roll of the fantasy football dice, if you will.
Okay, then Tyler, explain
Oh
the
my.
championship when Reed had his chance against me and Lad McConkey went nuclear on him. Jameer Gibbs went crazy. Explain
Okay,
that,
but
the championship.
let's
Okay.
talk about the championship game where I had 7 players on IR and you had 0.
Okay.
Hmm.
I
Play
mean,
play who you can. Put
I
your best
tried.
lineup out.
I wanted to play Drew Lock, but Trent made me not play Drew Lock by putting in a bad waiver claim for Joe Flacco. So
Okay,
then I had to play Joe Flacco.
and what would have happened if you played Drew Lock?
If I would have played, if I, fun fact for everybody, if I would have played the lineup that I had in my lineup on Saturday night, where I had Drew Lock playing and Jonnu over Joe Flacco and Jake Ferguson, I would have won. And that keeps me up at night. But
Oh,
thankfully, there's always next year.
the
there
thing
is.
is, anyone who's played fantasy football with Savon knows this. They know his defense clamps.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
I
10
mean,
years.
he goes out there, he tells his guys, he says, lock in, and they clamp, and
Some
there's
might say
nothing
he's
you
the
can
Tom
do.
Brady of motivating his defense.
That's right.
And that's what they do. And I will say, since you shit all over Reed's team, I'm gonna get in on it a little bit.
I didn't though.
You do have 3 quarterbacks. Well,
I do.
2.5. Joe, he who shall not be named, and Dak,
Okay,
all
real quick.
combined. Just let me, what?
Okay. If you're gonna have Anthony Richardson, having a third QB like that is honestly the best case scenario.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson is the best third
Let me-
quarterback in the
Oh,
league.
Let me finish. Let me finish my point.
Okay.
They have combined for 5 season-ending injuries. Joe is in his every other year. This is the other. So we'll see on that. Dak's coming off a torn hamstring off the bone or something like that.
Give or take.
And AR is,
Coming off various things.
he is in his other year for season-ending injuries too. So you could, by mid-season, you could literally be without a quarterback. So
You could literally be without a quarterback because injuries are impossible to predict, and saying he does every other year and expecting that to continue is foolish.
okay.
Besides, last year was supposed to be Dak's other year where he was back to being a top 5 quarterback, and that didn't happen. So,
And you still lost in the championship. So
yeah, no, I had to play Joe Flacco. It was tough. I hated it
Yes.
as much as everyone else. Watching you win a championship hurt me as much as it did everybody else. And then the most frustrating part is I go into the last night down 20, Juwan Jennings, Isaac Orendo, you have Gibbs. The 49ers score 4 fucking touchdowns, and none of them go to my guys. And it's just like all the ingredients were there to actually have a big night. And Ricky Pearsall scores, and then Patrick Taylor scores, and then George Kittle scores, and I'm over there like, what the hell? It was frustrating. I'm not gonna lie.
and then Gibbs scored.
And then Gibbs scored like 7 times, I think. So because I'm
No,
pretty
that-
sure he ended that game with over 40, I believe, because he had a last second like 60-yarder, something like that.
No, that was week 18 against the Vikings that you're thinking of. He
Mm,
had 4 touchdowns, like 200 yards.
okay, maybe that's right.
Yeah.
The Sam Darnold game.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Oh, okay. Well, it's gonna be a long time until August. I want to make sure if the league's okay with it, I'm just gonna make sure Savon and I play week 1 if that's okay with everybody. I don't think anybody would mind seeing Savon start 0-1. So
It's like Chiefs Ravens last year.
hey, we can play every week if you want to.
we will put a league vote and make sure the league agrees that we can play week 1, and then we can work with it from there.
Wait, can we do week 3 so that way we play the week to get into the playoffs too?
No.
Oh, you're ducking.
I want
Live
to
on
see you
air.
start 0-1 so your playoff odds go down.
Why don't you want to see me start 0-3?
Because you're probably going to play like, I don't know, Tyler in week 2, and then Tyler will
Sam,
drop 70
come on.
because your defense clamps him down like he does every time you play him. And then Tyler will, score a lot versus everybody. Tyler scored more points than you did last year.
I
What are we
think so.
talking about?
And
So-
who had more rings?
That's my point. It's called
Savon,
luck.
Savon just self-prophesized that he's starting at least 0-2 because he's like, you don't want to see me 0-3.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, again, he's got major holes at 2 important positions, whereas I have no holes. And okay, other than tight end, but other than
And
that,
quarterback.
okay,
Two.
whatever. We're ending this episode. We will see everybody next week for a fun episode that we don't have planned yet. So if you have any fun ideas, want to hear us talk or argue about whatever, let us know, and we'll hit it next week. So that's all for me. Anything from you guys?
No,
No,
if,
that was a fun one.
if you
Okay.
guys later or anyone else finds any of my players in that game incorrect, their team or acquisition, feel free to audit me, and we can edit the record next time.
Awesome. That wraps up episode 3 of Likely to Dispute, and we will see you guys next week.